Hello everyone and welcome back to Trial Talk Tuesdays. Today we're going to be talking about Diddy. Now this is a trial that is currently ongoing. That's why it's time to talk about it. I have waited. I was like, it's no point of waiting talking about this because it's going to take a while. By the way, I get everything I react to off Law and Crime. So I'm going to be listening to them on the covers because they are outside of there, and also they have people in there covering it so they can give it back to us for the news. So let's get into it.
We are doing our best to be respectful of what is happening in that courtroom, but also at the same time relaying the proper information to you. Elizabeth, I know my time with you is limited. I know you have to go back in there, so I want to...
Real quick, so this is the part where they're talking about Cassie said, I guess it was a text saying she enjoyed the freak off. Now, by the way, disclaimer, I like the glasses and I'm not wearing my lashes, so I'm looking this way just so y'all don't have to see the glare in my eyes because it is annoying, the glare from the light. So yes, they have a news reporter up in there. So this is why I like Law and Crime, because I can get all of it and it's live during that day. So I've been hearing some stuff on TikTok of them summarizing some stuff, the things that's going on. I've heard a lot of it, okay? So that's why I was like, let's see. When they're talking about text messages where she said she enjoyed the freak off, I guess that's what the people against her are going to use against her, but let's be real. She was lying. It's a video of her literally running away from a freak off. So there's so much to cover in this, y'all. I was like, let's just jump into it because it's going to be a lot of content with these. But yeah, let's start it.
Ask you real quick, what were the highlights of the cross-examination, and also what is the tone by which the cross-examination is being done? Is it combative back and forth? That's the thing we can't get from the transcript right now.
Yeah, as far as the cross-examination goes, for the most part, it seems very casual. We were thinking that it might be aggressive, it might be combative, but for the most part, Cassie has been very forthcoming in answering these questions. You know, she's showing, Ana Maria Estevao is showing her text messages and email chains and BlackBerry messages from 2007, from 2009, where Cassie is confessing her love to Diddy, or she is asking for a freak off, or she's, asking, about just more intimate details from her relationship with him. Because to your point, Jesse, a lot of this stuff, some of these messages that we did see in court today were very graphic in nature. And so, the questioning was starting out about the relationship between the two. When it first started out, and around that 2007 time period, around that 2009 period, that's when the questioning at the beginning of it kind of all started. And you would think that would be, an aggressive moment or a combative moment, especially as you're seeing messages that say, "I'm a very lucky woman. I miss you, and I'd fly wherever you need me. I love you." And then you see Diddy respond, "I love you so much. It makes me cry." And then Cassie writing back, "You hungry pop pop." But I'm thinking, just from my perspective, that around those time frames, she was still relatively young. For the most part, she was in her early 20s. She was also asked about a previous relationship she had with another music producer named Ryan Leslie. And around this time frame, the defense was kind of saying, when you started dating him, you were 18, 19 years old, and he was 10 years older than you. And asking, with respect to Sean Combs and with respect to Diddy, asking whether or not, that her entire world opened up because she was dating this man at this time period. Because remember, around that time, Diddy essentially reigned king amongst everyone. And so a lot of the questioning was a lot of messages that were shown today. A lot saying, "I love you so much. It made me feel like I can't wait until we just don't care anymore." And by saying we don't care anymore, that's about, her just wanting to be open and public about this relationship. You see Cassie say, "Pop pop, I really miss you." And Diddy responding in these messages, "Me too, baby. Damn, I can't wait until I see you." You see a 2010 message where Cassie says, "So you hung up. It's like I need to have something written out to say to you with no breathing room or you'll get mad at me. I haven't talked to you at all. I know you have 3 minutes," because, around this time he is running a bunch of businesses. He's going to board meetings. He's traveling across the country. But it seems like, Cassie, from her point of view, just by reading these messages, that you could kind of tell that she was just somebody, at least from my perspective, somebody that was young and in love and just wanted her boyfriend around that time. I will say, as far as just kind of the tone tone in the courtroom today. This was a day many of us were waiting for, because it is the cross-examination. We were wondering what the defense is going to try to poke at with, kind of maybe discrediting some of the claims, especially the claims about whether or not this was consensual or non-consensual, whether or not Cassie initiated wanting to do these FOs, or whether it was, Sean Combs who initiated and wanted to do it and made her, gather these escorts. And we haven't gotten too far into the testimony. I will say one thing today, Jesse, and some of the arguments that we had heard, even as I was leaving the courtroom just to come out and do this hit with you today, is that Cassie may be on the stand well until tomorrow as well, too, still in cross-examination, something that the judge was a little like, whoa, what are you guys talking about? You guys told me that you would be wrapped up today or possibly tomorrow. And the defense said today that they still have so much more to go over, to the point that this could drag into Friday and possibly even spill over into Monday if they have to do redirect or even have to do recross. And so that was something that they were ironing out as soon as the lunch break hit, right when I was leaving to come out here to speak with you. And so it seems like they still have a long ways to go into this cross-examination. There were times that I was thinking maybe that this would get combative, maybe Cassie would get mad or angry or anything like that. I saw none of that. She was, again, very forthcoming, answering her questions in the courtroom, still very soft-spoken, even when those graphic messages were shown inside the courtroom, even as she had to read some of these, and these are very sexual in nature. Some of them I'm not going to repeat here on air, but for the most part, when she was answering the question, she still kept the exact same tone that she had even during her direct examination. As for Ana Maria Esteveo, excuse me, I mispronounced her name earlier when we were talking about her, but even when she was asking her questions, it was a little kind of messy at times. I was kind of like, is she just going to ask a direct question? And Cassie was like, can you repeat that? Can you rephrase it? And then there were a lot of objections during the line of questioning. One thing I did note is that I'm
okay, let me pause it real quick. Jesus. Okay, look, already I'm talking about, y'all, it's how crazy is it that this is such a big trial? 100% this trial is going to last a long time. I personally feel like it, because there's so much. Now today is where I am. It's they're talking about Friday on their cross-examination. That's a long time to cross-examine somebody. That's how much is involved. Jeez, I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure Cassie is calm because she knows she's right with everything. The whole thing, I just can't believe how young they were, or how young she was. I can't even imagine her being that young dating him. I literally thought that's in those pictures, it looked like her Me and You era. Y'all remember how she looked at Me and You, her song? She was so young. I did not know they were talking at in her early 20s. I literally thought it was later on. I did not even know they were together that long. And it's not even a relationship. He fully controlled this girl. But it's like he get people in the industry and he manipulate them just to control them. That's exactly what he did. And then, maybe she was just really into him, and he would never. I don't know. That whole thing, him dating in the industry, I think is just to control people, which we know what it is, because he used her to hook up with other escorts, to record it, to watch it and record it. It's just so much nasty stuff, y'all. But yeah, look at this, I'm gonna put it back up. This right here, we have people out, waiting outside the court, the news people, can't nobody go in. And I always think it's funny how, they draw the pictures, it's this all they see. This need to be live streamed. They really should have cameras in there. I feel like it's that big, but I guess because it'll draw too much attention, but I'm it's a lot of attention. This is a lot of stuff going on. But that's a nasty man, y'all. It's a nasty man. He fully controlled that girl, and it's crazy because if she wanted a relationship, she got it, but it went south because his true colors came out. With that rhyme, and I was not trying to kind of
surprised that Ana Maria Esteveo is actually doing the line of questioning, because from what I can see of her, she's conferring a lot with Tenny Garagos during this line of questioning, whereas with AUSA Emily Johnson, when she was doing her direct examination, as far as Maureen Comey, as far as she was participating in that, she was just handing her sticky notes from time to time. She would get up, she would sit down. It wasn't too distracting, kind of like it is a little bit between the defense table, just kind of going back and forth. You see Diddy at the defense table. He is, again, participating in his defense. He's very much eyeballing these exhibits. He's writing notes down. He's conferring, with Mark Agnifilo and who's sitting right beside him, who normally sits kind of at the end of the table, but for today he's sitting right beside Diddy. And so that's pretty much the big sticking points that I'm definitely seeing with this cross-examination so far. And again, we still have so much more to go, according to the defense. They're not even scratching the surface yet, according to them.
Not surprisingly, I think it was said today, this is the star witness of the prosecution's case. I think the defense, their case, is mostly wrapped up in how Cassandra Ventura appears in front of this jury. So I'm not surprised it's going to take some time. Elizabeth, I wish we had a little bit more time, but I know you have to jump back into that courtroom. So thank you so much. We're going to get you back later on in the day. Elizabeth Milner, great reporting as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right, so I want to continue the conversation and take your questions right now about this.
Live
back here with
Q&A.
Safa,
Let's
back here with
listen.
Serena. So one of the questions that we got, and I want to pull it up right now. Let me just pull it up where it was, where we got it. It was a good question. Now I'm having trouble finding it. Okay. This is a question from Jaden Jarrell. I'm going to throw this to you, Safa. Do you think the text messages make her not credible? And when we think about text messages, I'll give you an example. This was one from apparently she wrote to Combs in an email. In order for me to be more open with the things we do in bed, I need to feel safe, like home, like this is my husband, and this is the only man that will ever have this aggressive sexual side of me. When we used to freak off, when we were so in love, there were no questions asked. It felt right, like it literally made sense for the next step in our sex life together. What do you think?
The text messages certainly will weigh on her credibility. I think what we've heard, or what we're hearing now through the cross-examination, is the defense attorney essentially using these text messages to say to her, well, listen, you again were a willing participant, you continue this relationship with him. And the defense is highlighting that through those text messages and through the conversations Ms. Ventura has been having. But it also goes both ways, because also in those text messages, which there are some ones for the prosecution here, she discusses how he has been physically violent towards her. They discuss the freak offs and a number of other things that really go to show that there was some sort of physical violence within the relationship, threats of force and things like that, which the government essentially has to prove. So the jury's going to determine how credible Ms. Ventura is, and the judge will instruct them on how to determine that. And they will be able to decide whether or not those text messages are consistent with her credibility, and if they either bolster or affirm her credibility or discredit her.
Well, I'll tell you what, we did a...
You know what I think? I feel like it shouldn't, but I know it's court, so it would. That's what the only thing the defense have to use. They use everything that, every little thing that's against their question. For example, I know that didn't make sense. Like they said, saying that they did the freak off, she was agreeing, okay, but they can use that against her. Oh, you liked it. But this is the thing. I feel like it should always... The bad should always weigh out the good, especially and first of all, none of this is good, but I'm talking about in his situation, you have more people who are drugged. And I think it's crazy how a lot of that stuff, and y'all, I know we are just at the beginning of all of this, okay? This is literally the week. It's been a week, and this is my first time seeing, so far. There's so much that happened in this week. But more people have been drugged. There's so much more to it. So, I don't know. Just because she said that, I'm like, that was also at the beginning of their relationship. And he was already hitting her and, making control of her and using the word freak off. How about that? So early on. I just think the bad outweighs the good, and that's how they should always look at it. But the defense, they have to do that because that's what they do. They use everything against her because she said it. But I don't think it should make her look any other way. I'm like, you saw the video, he was literally beating her. There's video footage of him, not footage, but he was watching her get R-worded because he wanted it. It's really sick. I don't know, it's just sick.
Up on long crime. This was the question. After hearing both the allegations and the defense cross-examination so far, who do you find more credible? 80% say Cassie, 20% say
Who
Diddy.
said 20?
Serena, you think that's going to be consistent with what the jury's thinking at this point?
Man.
Or it's very difficult to know because, again, there's one thing how we're listening to the transcript, or at least we're reading from the transcript, versus how the questioning is done inside that courtroom. What do you think?
So much plays a role here, Jesse. It goes in every different direction. First of all, the people who are taking the poll are almost self-selected, right? They're obviously interested and have been following the Diddy case for a long time. They might actually know, your Law and Crime viewers might know a lot more about this case than the jurors do, at least at this point. And so it's hard to say whether it's going to, spill over to how the jury feels. On the other hand, the jury is supposed to be objective. It's supposed to reflect the community, and hopefully the jury is listening very, very intently to all of the testimony, both the cross and also the direct from the prosecution. I do think that Cassie has come across very credible. I also do think that there is a little bit of an uphill battle with respect to these text messages, because they're going to try to say, look, you're saying these things now, but your state of mind at the time was that you were a willing participant.
We'll talk about the defense and something that Elizabeth just brought up, Safa. Why would it be Anna Esteveo is doing the cross-examination as opposed to Tenny Garagos? Do you have a theory about that?
Oh, absolutely. There's absolutely no way that the defense could have allowed a male to cross-examine Miss Ventura for optics purposes.
Well, Tenny Garagos is a woman.
Yeah, well, and so I guess to the point, and I think what I heard Elizabeth say was what she was conferring, or I think it was Miss Anna who was conferring with other attorneys, but essentially they need a woman to cross-examine Miss Ventura. And the importance of that is because optically speaking, when you have a man who is cross-examining a woman, especially a pregnant woman who is very delicate in nature because of her pregnancy condition, it just looks bad to have a male cross-examine her. So it's not surprising that the defense would have made the decision to have this particular attorney cross-examine her. And I think for optics speaking, that was the right thing for them to do. If they had a male cross-examining Miss Ventura, it would have just looked very aggressive, as if they're pummeling down or combative with a woman who is pregnant and fragile and maybe in the eyes of the jury is a victim. So they're very careful about that.
I also feel like they should. I feel like with the trials I've seen, a lot of men, and it depends on who it is, they're very aggressive, and it's like they said, she's pregnant, the stress, oh, you wanted it, but I know they wouldn't say that like immediately, but that's exactly, I got a feeling what they're going to start saying when they really get into it, like the deep dark stuff, because it's all going to come out. But I feel like with many cases dealing with women, they should have women talking to them, because the men, I don't know, I just think it's the whole aggressive thing. Y'all know there's people online that still be saying that Diddy did nothing wrong, that he would be free, and that, well, she stayed with him this long. All those people who went to the parties were willingly kind of dead, but they didn't ask to get drugged. It's like they didn't get asked to get R-worded while they're drugged, because a lot of people, drugs make your body do different things. They didn't ask for none of that.
It's interesting when we talk about her cross-examination, because we have a question here, Serena, from Legs 7K. With today's cross-examination, could Cassie be on the stand tomorrow, or is there a new witness to testify? So it seems the judge said in court, hey, listen, guys, the plan was, you always knew her testimony had to end this week. Now, why that's the case, maybe it has to do with pregnancy. I'm not entirely sure, but what I will tell you is there is a lot more they need to question her about, and there's a lot more that I imagine the prosecution wants to come back at with a redirect. Why is it so important to have this testimony finished up by the end of the week? Do you think that this is realistically going to end by tomorrow, or do you think this has to extend until Monday? I mean, doesn't the defense and the prosecution have a right to question this witness as much as they need to? This is the star witness in this case.
100%. I would highly doubt that this is going to end today. Most likely it will continue tomorrow, possibly into Monday. I'm smiling because I think it's funny in a way, because even though this is P. Diddy and he's a famous guy and this is, the trial of the century at the moment, these scheduling things happen in all cases. Judges get very frustrated. Witnesses get frustrated routinely when things don't go their way, when schedules are longer than expected. The judge also wants to keep the schedule tight for the jury's purpose. I assume that the tightness, though, is because Cassie is pregnant. They don't want to overwhelm her. They don't want a medical situation. They want to make sure that she's okay. But you are correct. Both sides have an opportunity and must have an opportunity, especially Diddy's team, to confront his accuser.
And Serena, real quick follow up on that. A part of me wonders, while they had to have her testify first, she's the star witness of the case. But, and also the practical reality is we can't wait 8 weeks. She might give birth. But at the same time, primacy, recency, this is going to be 8 weeks from when the jury hears her testimony and goes into deliberations. Is that a problem or a benefit for the prosecution? I spoke to a lawyer earlier today who said, you know, first thing the jury hears, they're going to remember that versus, you know, towards the end, when the defense has an opportunity to cross-examine the prosecution's star witness, might not work to their benefit. I understand the practical realities of having her testify first, but is that going to hurt or help the prosecution?
Well, I love that you came up with primacy and recency. Those psychological thoughts are very apparent in trials all the time. The first thing you hear and the last thing you hear are typically the things that you remember. And so there's so much strategy that happens when prosecutions present a case to a jury. So much goes into who goes first, when they say the things that they need to say, whether they're still on the stand during cross, during the weekend. Are the jurors going to be thinking about her testimony over the weekend, and how are they going to be thinking about it? Was it the last word that they heard from the defense? Was the last word that they heard from the prosecution? Strategy is so important in trial, and the order of witnesses has a lot to do with that strategy. So I think for two reasons, the fact that she's going to give birth very soon, and the fact that the prosecution wants the jury to remember her testimony are two solid reasons why Cassie went first.
So by the way, I think she also went first, and not to self-promote, but I'll self-promote because this is what I do. I did a sidebar. It's coming out later today. I mentioned it before. We matched up Cassandra Ventura's direct examination and how it will help prove the elements of each one of the charges. So, Safa, I think that when she talks about threats of violence, control, that all works to force, fraud, coercion, elements of sex trafficking, her being transported, allegedly having sexual relations with escorts in different cities, them getting paid, goes to sex trafficking. When she mentions, escorts, at least one being brought to different cities, transportation to engage in prostitution. The racketeering case is interesting. Safa, we have a question from Sharada Ramanthan. Apologies if I mispronounced that. The evidence of an entire enterprise being involved is way beyond domestic abuse, right? Yes. I'm curious, based on what you've seen in her direct examination, do you think she has provided enough of this racketeering, criminal enterprise, common purpose, racketeering conspiracy is the actual charge? Do you think she's done it?
I think she's certainly setting the framework for that, and I think to an extent she has. With regard to an enterprise, it needs to be an individual or at least one or more people acting in concert and things of that nature. Mr. Combs, in and of himself, is an individual, so her testimony that at his direction he was doing certain things to further this sex trafficking and kidnapping or conspiracy, is enough. Now, what I expect that the prosecution is going to do is that they are going to add additional witnesses after Ms. Ventura comes off the stand that will help further the idea or their theory that there were other people that were acting in concert or this criminal enterprise, whether that be security guards or other people that may have worked for Mr. Combs during that time period, which will go to show that this was an enterprise. But I think that Cassie or Ms. Ventura has set the framework, and we have a little bit from her, maybe not enough, but I think the prosecution's on the right track with showing that this is an enterprise.
So y'all know something? I'm going to actually put up here. Let's see, where is it? Right here. I'm going to share a screenshot so I can show y'all exactly what I'm talking about with the comments. Watch this. Somebody said the problem is that he is not on trial for domestic violence. Okay, that's true. Here we go. She stated before that she thought she was in love with him, but really it was the threat of violence, mind-altering drugs, and that 10-album contract she signed when she was 19 that kept her stuck to Diddy. Cassie's story is a cautionary tale for other young girls, especially those who have dreamed of making it in Hollywood. Other people said 10 albums is insane. That is true. She was not 19 when she signed with, okay, they were agreeing. Look at this. Where is it? Because I saw when I wanted to read to y'all. Where is it? Right here. Cassie is not as innocent as she's trying to portray. She loved the lifestyle and money that came with it. The text messages proved sis was saying she loved the freak offs. Oh my god. She was young. Oh my god, stop it. The infantilizing of women is so pathetic. It's like women aren't considered real adults until they are 30. And somebody agreed to that. Moral of the story, money is a hell of a drug. Like, y'all, it's crazy. You know, it's actually crazy. So, well, Pop is creepy AF. That's actually true. We're going to talk about that. Somebody said daddy is worse and more commonly used. Really, it is. Oh my god, y'all. Oh, we're going to talk about that. That is what I call my grandfather. She said that is what she used to call her grandfather, and then Diddy made her do it to him. Ew, I hope not, because that is so creepy. Ew. That's just very odd if that's really true. What's odd about this is, are we being led to believe that Cassie didn't have one friend, associate, or family member that she could go to and simply get away from him? So nobody tried to help her, offer her a place to hide. I know he's a freaking lunatic, but he couldn't have been with her 24/7, 365 while he was running an empire. Where are all her people? Parents, family, friends. Super sad. Somebody said, finally someone who understands what part of the world is saying. Okay, Cassie, please. Cassie started off as an accomplice and got turned into a victim. Jeez, she wanted to stay. I think she was trying to keep it hidden from people close to her. That's what I think too, kind of, y'all. Oh wow, last one I'm gonna read. Oh wow, Diddy has text from the women he beat and manipulated with money and fame at 20 years old. Oh, the poor grown man. Okay. Only women get to use the she was young excuse. Young men don't get that type of leniency. Shaking my head no if a young man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like what the heck? Pretty women. What does she look like? Whoopi. Oh my goodness, they got this. She's not innocent. Okay. Oh my goodness, y'all. I wanted to read the comments because I was curious about what people thought, because there's so much going on. And like I said, this is just the first one I watched, and this isn't even the first day, y'all. Oh my god. So I agree to some, but don't agree to all. The pop thing is very creepy. I was about to say, it's like she's talking to her dad. He looked like he was her dad. Like he just manipulated this young girl, and maybe it was part of the money, y'all. You know, the industry, she was a musician at the time. To get her in the industry, they do crazy things, and it's not worth it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not worth it. Like, she was young, dumb, and he was old and manipulative. There you go. And then she got stuck. Now, when somebody was saying that it's like girls aren't women to 30s, like basically saying they get away with a lot of stuff. Only to a certain point, I think I agree to that, because it's like with other stuff with like women who attack men, the kids who attack young boys. I don't know why they treat these women like they are not attackers and pedophiles, because they are. But this thing is like, look, y'all can say the men, it's like you can say she wanted it, she wanted the money. Maybe it is a part of that, but at the same time, she's not asking to get beat. She's not asking to be like drugged around and forced to hook up with escorts. Oh my goodness. Like, she's not asking for none of that. Nobody asked for that. Then they say money is a hell of a drug. It really is, because money will make you do some crazy stuff. It will really make you bow down to people, and it's crazy. That's everything he used to like get over on people, is money. This trial is insane already, and I've only heard a little part of it. Like, then she's fully pregnant, so it's like you can't stress her out, because oh my god, this will have me all the way stressed out. Trying to cross-examine somebody for like a week is insane. And then y'all, these last like hours. These are hours, like hour-long talking about one thing. Oh my goodness. I am definitely going to I'm going to upload these not just on Tuesday. I'm going to upload these more throughout the week, because I'm curious if I have the time to edit those, because work. But it's so much into this, and it's so crazy. We all know that. But I don't like the thing talking about she's not as innocent as she used to be, and somebody saying she was an accomplice and then a victim. Now, the whole thing, like I said, it's like it could have been money and like, you know, promising things. But then you have some people saying, like in the comments, talking about, did she have anybody to talk to? Now I am curious about that, because you always have somebody to talk to, especially when you're around everybody. But he could have easily manipulated everybody around him. Like, I wouldn't believe nothing after all this stuff like that was happening. I wouldn't believe nothing. I'm still on the point with the video of him beating her with that towel on. I would have easily like kicked the back of his knees and like would have went ham on him. But she was scared of him, and she's also tiny. I would have went ham on that man. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, y'all, this is just the beginning where I'm starting off. So much to talk about in this. What y'all think about this though? I'm really curious. It's like, I don't know if I fully agree with what people are saying, that she's like not innocent. And nobody's innocent. Especially people in the music industry. Nobody's innocent. They took advantage of her since she was young. That's the same thing they did to Justin, Usher. Like, everything Diddy did, the same thing happened to Aaliyah. It happened to them all in the industry, y'all. It's so scary, okay? So on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We have so much. And that's why I like Law and Crime, because they just break it down. I don't have to watch a crazy 2-hour video. They just break it down. But for a while, we are going to be covering this trial, okay? Because I got to get caught up. I'm already, like, this is like the end of the week, and because I'm recording this before Tuesday, y'all, because I got to work, so I'm going to have to edit this and then upload it on Tuesday. I'm like, I already missed a week of talking already on this freaking trial, so I got to get caught up. So on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay safe out there, and I will see you guys on the next Trial Talk Tuesday. Bye.